If you are a new or an aspiring founder of your small business and have no time to waste or really struggle to do your social media marketing, you will enjoy our Creating Reorganized show. In my day job as a psychology professor, I teach my bachelor and master students in real life how to reorganize processes in a goal-directed and future-proof way in companies. And that's what I had done for a living as a former IT strategy consultant. For my own career coaching business on the side, I can only dedicate a fraction of my time because, I prioritize care work for my little children. I face the same or similar challenges like all small business owners. So I applied all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing and to boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and affiliate products or services. I strategically capitalize on professional tools to scale my impact according to my vision of life. Listen and subscribe to this Creating Reorganized show so you will learn to do the same for your own business, to build the know, like, and trust factor, and to boost sales of your services or products. Please also ask your business-specific questions because for the next seasons, I envision interview episodes with aspiring and new founders like you, if you want to get your Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life. As in every episode, at the end, I will wrap everything up from a psychological method, theory, or concept point of view. So stay tuned until the end of this episode, especially if you are my bachelor and master student in real life. I would love for you to take notes and maybe even already recognize my arguments. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Soei-Winkels, and now welcome to our show, Creating Reorganized.
Hello, Creating Reorganizer, and I'm thrilled to share insights today on why starting up a video podcast like this is not just a trendy move, but a smart strategy for building trust with your audience and enhancing your sales. I know that as a budding small business owner, you may already feel overwhelmed with your marketing, especially when it comes to social media. But social media is extremely valuable for building authentic relationships and communicating with your online audience. It establishes trust, loyalty, and engagement. It really helps to promote your company's products or services like e-courses or keynote speaking gigs, or you are offering a service like a wonderful vacation stay and to make memories that count for life. Either way, your business is built to last, right? So that means that you are offering services and products that need to be promoted when your ideal client is ready and needs that. So all of those social media activities need to be reproducible, need to be repurposable. Social media marketing efforts need to be tangible and effective. And that being said, if time is your rarest resource, and also maybe you don't have the skills for social media marketing, posting consistently on social media can be tough. And the thought of adding yet another platform to your plate may just feel daunting. Trust me, integrating a video platform can simplify and amplify your marketing in ways you might not expect. You can have thought-based services, for example, where you just have storytelling, information exchanging strategies, etc. Or you can even have a physical location of your product, for example, a hotel or so, or you have a gift shop or something like that. Then you are even best suited for a video podcast because then you can show off how it would feel for someone buying your products or your service. If you do this strategically like me, you will have countless social media assets to post during your vacation across many time zones or on many social media platforms, having more than you can post. Why can you trust me? Well, I'm a psychology professor since over 10 years, and I teach my students in real life how to streamline organizational processes in companies, which I had actually done as a former IT strategy consultant at Accenture, the top global management consulting company. And for my own career coaching business, I face the same challenges like all small business owners. I really apply all my experience and knowledge to create my other video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, to streamline my social media marketing efforts and boost sales of my coaching, e-courses, and also affiliate products or services. I started in January 2023, and I have strategically created over 60 evergreen, valuable, share-worthy, but also promotional episodes across 5 seasons. This way, I was able to raise a global and niched brand awareness and authority via over 9,000 listenings. Our Spotify Wrapped for 2024 reveals that we were able to win 88% new listeners, and that my podcaster persona is storyteller. Because I'm a professor, I have to be able to storytell. The sweet surprise was that I was able to do that also without having an in-person experience with me. And for me, my podcasting really helped me to attract leads, build my know, like, and trust factor, and to convert them as recommenders to customers at the bottom of my marketing funnel. But without my tech stack underneath, I would not have been able to strategically conduct my top of funnel marketing on all my social media channels 24/7, 365 days to serve my global audience. I really rely on the tech, and I want you to embrace tech as your best employees as well. Best of all, I have derived almost effortlessly countless social media content that I can repurpose all year round, every day, on many social media platforms. I really have escaped the social media content creation hamster wheel, which is key for my life as a working mom who wants to work only part-time to be a present mom for my young children. And maybe you want that for yourself in your future too.
Before going back to our episode, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. I want to share with you my best marketing agent. Serving my underprivileged, underrepresented, and underserved audience, leads and clients is key for me as an Asian working mom, business owner, and professor in Germany. But I can't be marketing and selling all the time, and I have to be mindful with my own resources. So I chose Podbean as my podcasting host and monetizing provider. I'm on the Unlimited Plus plan for our Postdoc Transformation show and Creating Reorganized show. With Podbean, your audience can inclusively listen and watch your podcast according to their visual and auditive needs. You can also embed your customized podcast player on your external website or use one of the beautiful website templates. You can easily share your podcast on all major podcasting directories, which allow you to reach a huge audience on their favorite devices in their countries. Podbean also has an ads marketplace, and you can easily attract and manage sponsors for dynamic ads, which are played out depending on your audience criteria. This way, you can serve your audience for free. Some of them become your clients eventually, but your advertising sponsors independently support you financially in each episode. You will see insightful stats per demographic and which episodes attracted most listeners, so you can tailor your future episodes for your leads and clients and present suitable external ads. If you want to try out Podbean for your own podcasting, DM or email me Podbean so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Podbean link. After this short salute to our sponsors, we now return to our inspiring episode.
Let's talk about the benefits of video podcasting. First and foremost, video builds trust. People are more likely to engage with real human visual content than text alone. When you speak directly to your audience through video, they can see your authenticity, your passion, and your commitment to your business. Here's your prompt to reflect. Think about the last time you felt a connection with a brand. What made you feel that way? Was it their storytelling, their visuals, or perhaps the person behind the brand? Another benefit is that a video podcast allows for greater engagement. You can showcase your products or services live. You know, this is where my hotel is, this is where the gift shop is, or whatever. So you can demonstrate answering questions in real time and create a sense of community in a sense of like, yes, this is the place. Like I watched that in the video, and how exciting is that it really looks that way. It's like having a conversation with your audience rather than just talking to them. Now, let's discuss some actionable steps that you can take to get started with your video podcast. Because I have to be honest, I wasn't a born YouTuber or whatever you could call it, right? So I learned how to speak into the camera directly and feel comfortable with that. But maybe you are not yet at that stage. So what I would recommend to you is to think of how can you use video and still have your voice in it. Or if it's distracting for you to think of yourself talking to a camera, maybe you can talk to someone else like this and then pretend or even have a real discussion with someone, and then it simply looks like in TV shows or in a documentary, two people are talking, they're talking to each other, the viewer will see them from half side. You can pretend to be talking to someone and it will look less engaging, but it's better than nothing. You can now choose, will you be doing solo episodes or interviews or even product demonstrations, or you can take the camera with you and say a day in the life of our a day in our hotel or whatever. So defining this early on will shape your content, because this way you will know what the storyline should be. And here's a peek behind the scenes into my own video podcast. When I look at my own post-doc transformation show statistics, I'm really happy that I strategically created the first 22 episodes as foundational solo episodes. That's only me talking to the camera, and the content is really evergreen for scientists leaping into business. I've built my own personal brand while learning the ins and outs of podcasting. But I grew bored talking solo, and I wanted my diverse audience from all over the world to also have relatable, diverse role models. Just because I'm a person of color, just because I am a woman, just because whatever you see me, that doesn't mean that it's relatable for you. So I started to interview senior business leaders with a doctor title who I admire, who are inspiring to me. Depending on their high or low affinity to promote their interviews on social media, we were able to reach more or less new audiences. I learned the hard way. And just because my audience has grown to like me, they don't necessarily embrace my guests who are unknown to them. So, for example, in one season, I had the overall theme, Future of Work in Various Industries. And I thought, that's a banger. I don't need to promote that as much because everyone will be interested in the future of work in various industries. Well, it wasn't that case. With my various guests, I was able to get some traction, but it wasn't as strong as I anticipated. So my retention rate dropped. That means less people were coming back for the next episode after they have listened to one of the episodes previously. So to counteract, I injected a solo episode in the start, middle, and at the end of season 2 until 4 to tie back the attention. That worked better, but also not in a way that I was really satisfied with that. And I wanted to finish stronger in season 5 in autumn 24. So my own batch of students in real life encouraged me to test 5 solo episodes as a mini-series, and I will link to these 5 in the show notes as they are a great case study for dovetailing between episodes in a mini-series. With that, I was able to reach a new audience and to retain my audience to finish strong in 24. So for me personally, I would go forward with more solos than interviews, and also make sure that I strategically select my guests having my audience in mind. It's not just for me, it's for my audience. And I'm serving my audience well with the content that they want.
Let's pause for a moment to respect those who sponsor this valuable episode. I want to share with you my time and energy saver. As a professor for industrial and occupational psychology, I also teach about the future of work, and as a former IT strategy consultant, of course, I embrace AI to be a future-proof podcast producer of the Post-doc Transformation Show and the Creating Reorganized Show. Descript is the video and audio podcast editing tool of my choice. I pay for their creator plan, and it's worth every dollar. Descript comes with an integrated professional remote recording studio for the best audio quality for your guests and you. For example, I record an hour interview with a guest or a solo, and instead of painstakingly doing a rough cut and deleting all the ums and ahs and filler words and rambling around, which I did for hours, I now click on Descript's AI, editing for clarity, and my rough cut is done in seconds or a minute. For fine-tuning, I edit text instead of audio waves, and I just insert all my pre-recorded music, intro, ads, and outro, like this one, in a matter of minutes. I can then easily export closed captions, fine-tune AI-driven summaries, chapter markers, and titles, which I feed into my show notes and podcast host. Descript even suggests the best clips for social media, and their video editor automatically includes the synchronized speakers, cameras, and audio captions. I can also include stock graphics or pre-recorded videos. You can find our short-form examples on our Instagram and TikTok at Postdoc Transformation. If you want to try out Descript for your own podcast editing, DM or email me, Descript, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Descript link. After this quick appreciation of our sponsors, we are now back in our insightful episode.
For my own business, there is also another type of episode really valuable. As a former IT strategy consultant, I was often tasked to demo software. And, video is such a strong tool to demo product or software usage and experience. So if you can include that also in your podcasting strategy, it's worth the extra effort. And I will surely dedicate an episode on why, what, and how to demo your product or your service in your video podcast. I mean, YouTube is full of that demo. And I think that a video podcast where you show off how one can use your service or product in real life will be great. But I would say this is once you have built your foundational episodes, right? So this is rather for later, once you have built the know, like, and trust factor with your foundational episodes. So taken together, for starting out with your video podcast, create more solo than interview episodes and build in product and service demos in your solo episodes later down the road. Now let's move on to the next point. Plan your content creation according to your availability. So your personal calendar must be driving your content creation. You might be wondering, how will I find the time? Of course, you will have to make time. I hear you. As a professor and a mom, I'm very strategic with my scheduling. After I have booked family vacation, noted down school-free days, I plan my podcast season schedule yearly in October for the next year. For every half year or semester, I note down my teaching duties, and then I note down one focus day to plan ahead the 10 episodes for the next season. So you can bet I have already laid out all the 10 episodes for this first season, and many focus days to write the scripts and record per episode. For example, I was today at the hairdresser, and now I have the bandwidth to focus on recording 2 episodes until 2 o'clock or so, until I pick up my kids from school. I would typically write 3 scripts before I schedule a batch recording day, where I record up to 3 episodes within 6 hours, maybe during quieter times of my lecturing schedule or while my kids are at school. Across the next weeks as needed, and usually with 2 weeks being ahead of the publishing date to allow buffer time for sickness, I edit the recordings early in the mornings while everyone in my family is asleep or at school. And I can then derive social media assets from finished episodes in my car when my kids are engaged in their weekly hobbies. I pay for AI-infused software in almost every process of my podcasting, and it's worth my investment because these professional services help me to be effective and efficient in my business. So here's your prompt to reflect. What times in your yearly, half-yearly, quarterly, or monthly, weekly schedule could you carve out for creating your video podcast? The next thing is about your gear. You need to invest in your basic equipment or gear. You don't need a full studio to start. In January 2023, I started with my iPhone and recorded directly into my Podbean app the podcasting host that I still use today. 2 episodes I recorded in a professional singing studio because I recorded also my jingle to celebrate 1,000 listenings of my post-doc transformation show. But to be honest, scheduling and going into the studio was a logistics nightmare for me as a working mom, so I ended up buying basic recording gear. And today I use a good microphone. For example, this one is a Vocaster DM1, and I use also a Logitech webcam HD 1080, just a ring light from Amazon. And also I use this audio shield to reduce my echo for my voice. I'm not their affiliate link partner, but you can still see that in the picture. However, I use that and recommend that to you. That's the basic equipment that suffices my quality standards too.
Let's pause quickly to appreciate those who sponsor this valuable episode. I want to share with you my #1 lead generator, and you can start that even without a podcast. It's Typeform, and I use them to create free quizzes with open questions and multiple choice answers. I also predefine mandatory answers so I can qualify and score leads, collect their email addresses for later nurturing. I can brand my quizzes, for example, my Check Your Readiness to Leap Out of Science quiz, with my audio and video files, so this way I can share specific podcast episodes or other information based on their answers, and then automatically send them an email after submitting the quiz. I even included a calendar invite for those leads who qualify specifically. So now I can help everyone on the surface for free and divert my valuable time only to my high-ticket leads on a deep level. I collect all the data automatically after my initial setup, as I have also integrated it with my remaining tech stack. If you want to try out Typeform for your own lead generation and qualification, DM or email me Typeform so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become the customer using my Typeform link. After thanking our sponsors, we continue now to our insightful episode.
To be honest, what really makes the difference is the software to produce your podcast. If you ever interview people, you will eventually run into bad and different audio and video quality. That is a major time killer, and I have a handful of recorded interviews that I cannot publish. Having the tools to save and enhance the audio quality in a video podcast is essential. You can't get away with bad video. Just throw in some B-roll and other visual content to distract, but understandably, bad audio is a top reason to stop listening to an episode despite the content quality. So if you want professional multi-track video and audio interviews and also solo recordings, I recommend Descript, which I have strategically selected and used since episode 23 for all my remote video interviews with guests from Asia, the US, Canada, Africa, and Europe. Next on our list is to find an easy-to-use, affordable, and scalable podcast hosting and monetizing platform. And I stress monetizing because at the end of the day, you will be investing your time and also maybe some budget to buy the gear. You will have opportunity costs because you could be doing something else. But instead, you want to monetize your podcast. At best, it will be because you are selling your services and products. But you can also think of similar businesses like you in the supply chain who can also benefit from a promotional mentioning in your podcast. They could pay you to be in your podcast because you are attracting the same audience that will sooner or later need their services too. So think of a supply chain. And that's why I'm thinking of dynamic ads need to be possible in your podcast host so that you can later on add sponsors for your show. So please check out Podbean, as I've had great experiences with them for my other video podcasts, Post-Doc Transformation Show, and I also host the Creating Reorganized show on Podbean. They really helped me to streamline the distribution to all major podcast players, also called directories like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Amazon, Alexa, etc. So that was once set and forget, right? For my second podcast, I even had to remember how I did it because I just did it once, and it automatically trickles down from my Podbean account to all the other podcast players. And importantly, Podbean offers and manages dynamic insertion of podcast advertisements in my current and also in existing podcast episodes. Even past episodes I can monetize. And as a small business owner, you don't want to do it yourself, RSS feed, etc. I guess that you're not the techie person here. With Podbean, you set and forget, and that is all that is needed. And for setting up our Creating Reorganized show, I rediscovered how easy it is. Now, once you have published your episode on your podcast host, like Podbean, it automatically gets pushed to the selected major podcast players. Okay, but new leads won't find your podcast just because it is available. Some of the podcast directories will pick it up and play it on the hot rotation for new podcast recommendations or so. But if you're new in the game, well, that probably won't happen. But instead, you must promote your episodes on social media to reach new audiences. But then again, in social media, people have a different intention, right? So people scroll to be passively entertained on the surface. So do not expect them to listen to your in-depth video podcast instead of being entertained by 3-second short-form funny videos, for example. So how can you then bridge that gap? Instead, you can create enticing teaser content that informs your non-following viewers where to find your podcast for later. So, of course, you can set up your podcast link in the bio or profile of a social media handler, but I would also inform on screen and also in the audio caption about where to find your podcast. So for that teaser content, I recommend to derive social clips or carousel posts, all based on the full transcript of your episode. And then you can use AI-infused software for finding good clips. I use Descript to clip out all my teaser content, and I get at least 7 to 21 or more clips out of 1 hour episode of a podcast. All of these you can then schedule to be published in the week of that podcast episode or all year round if it's evergreen. For example, you can see me on LinkedIn with my Advent calendar where I repurpose previous guests and showcase them with an update. But essentially, I'm just repurposing. I already created the podcast and now I'm just milking it. And that's why it's so important that you create an evergreen podcast that you can reuse over time. So schedule and post on social media platforms. Mix the ones with a long, short shelf life, which ones reach a cold versus a warm audience, focusing on the ones where your client avatar hangs out the most. So depending on the socio-demographics, like the age, the gender, the geography, etc., you will find them more or less not on all platforms. Maybe you want to promote on all platforms. You might have to change the wording, the captions, the way you record or whatever. So maybe you can then repackage that content in a different way for that audience specifically.
Let's pause quickly to appreciate those who sponsor this valuable episode. If you want a relatively passive income, creating a paid e-course as your service is a great option. Especially if you are like me, an experienced teacher in higher education and now want to share even more knowledge and create a paid membership with live group meetings beyond the e-course. Offering an e-course is a no-brainer, and Thinkific is an AI-infused learning management system which is a dream for every educator. After setting up an e-course and our membership, you also need to market and sell your e-course. And that's when lead generation with Typeform and podcasting via Descript and Podbean can complement you well. If you want to try out Thinkific for creating your own e-course and membership, DM or email me Thinkific so I can share my experience or consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Thinkific link. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode.
If you are now curious how we do our LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest, and Instagram game, you can check it out on those platforms at Postdoc Transformation. Next one up is build and nurture your own email list. As a business owner, you probably already have a website and email list provider, but if not, I can highly recommend ActiveCampaign. Building your email list is key for your business, as this is the bottom of the funnel where the primary focus is on converting leads into paying customers. Especially if Instagram or whatever social media platform is ever down, having trouble, or like TikTok is banned in the US for the next years. I don't know. You need to have a way to communicate and to sell to your clients, and that is an email list, because an email list is yours. But social media is borrowed land, so you don't want to build a house on borrowed land. In your emails, you can serve and qualify your leads and offer more help with your paid products and services. I have created an automated email course for career transition made simple so that I can automatically nurture my leads across 10 emails. My clients are often scientists who want to leap, but they're currently doing their PhD, so they don't have enough money to pay me one-on-one coaching. I still want them to thrive as well. So my free email course is how I can help them at reasonable investment on my side. By the time they reach the last email, they have learned a ton of career transition insights for free, and they're ready to buy my services or not. I'm hoping that they will recommend my services to their graduate school, and then the graduate school becomes my client. And if they still don't buy or have recommended me, they are parked then on a separate list. But I'm happy that I have helped them already for free. Remember when I was talking about the video podcast that it's not a one-way street, but it's an invitation to talk, to communicate? Well, don't forget to engage with your audience by asking for feedback on what they want to hear next in your video podcast. For example, I do that via Typeform or in my DMs. But my DMs are a mess, to be honest. So I use Typeform to standardize the submission. So if you are curious how we brand our customized feedback survey, rather at the bottom of our funnel to engage our loyal podcast fans, you will find our 2 flagship lead magnets linked in the show notes. We also use a quiz made in Typeform as a top of funnel lead magnet. So this is a tool for all stages in your marketing funnel. If you are like me, you don't have time to hang around on social media all day, right? I get my kids ready to school, drive one of them to school, drive to my applied university, give a lecture for my students before I head home to pick up both kids at their schools. We have lunch. I help my kids with their homework, drive them to their individual hobbies. I cook dinner and I put them to bed. So no, I'm not hanging out on social media. The best time to engage with comments in my posts is while I wait for my kids in the car. I cannot post by myself. So for posting on social media, we use an AI-infused social media scheduling app called Metricool, as linked in the show notes. And that really is so good, because now I get to sort of like create an auto list in the sense of I want to post about these topics, and then I decide on which weekdays and what times they go out, and then they just go out every day. I have thought about that for maybe one day for the whole month, and then it goes out, and then I can pick up my kids and whatever. In my free time, I can then check in and engage. And that is so much more fun than to write when I need to post directly.
Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who financed this valuable episode for you. So far, you have learned all my favorite marketing and sales tools. Now, how can you bring all the data from your audience, leads, and clients together so you can serve them on a value ladder and for the long term? Even after multiple touchpoints with you, you want to remain on their mind for when they are ready to buy your service or product. I'm expanding my digital business, and I use ActiveCampaign as the centerpiece of all my services like email course, podcast, newsletter, show notes, website, sales page, merch shop, forms, whatever it is, as needed. As a former IT strategy consultant, I have high requirements on my tech stack, and ActiveCampaign offers so many integrations to all my other apps. I use it daily. If you want to create your own digital business with the various AI-driven lead magnets and funnel options, DM or email me, ActiveCampaign, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my ActiveCampaign link. Thanking our sponsors for the financial support, we are happy to return to a valuable episode.
In my LinkedIn, I sometimes get DMs by people who run their business for many years, but who struggle to do their marketing online. So let's address the elephant in the room, challenges. You might think, I don't have the time for this extra marketing effort. I need to run my business and serve my existing clients. I have no clue. I'm too old for that social media thing. And I'm really happy that you have existing clients. But trust me, I've been in my business for more than 10 years, and my business today looks so different. I don't have that many in-person gigs anymore. I am serving online, marketing, selling, but also serving online. And I'm glad that you have already a viable business with your clients. But what if sales with your existing clients stagnates or ceases? What is your lead pipeline? How do you nurture them to convert them into future clients? How can you serve your existing clients generously and at the same time find out about new pain points for which you then can create new services? As a professor teaching how to reorganize business processes, I recommend reevaluating current business model in good time. Then you have enough budget to double down on what's working in a goal-directed way. Usually, companies turn to strategy consultants when it's inevitable or too late. And to be honest, and as a storyteller, according to our Spotify Wrapped 2024, it's an even more compelling story to share positive and current and progressing customer stories in your podcast. Imagine that you can share a holiday visitor in your hotel being stressed, and after a week or a longer weekend or a 2-week stay, they feel so much better. You know, you get to record them before and after in your video podcast. How many people would want to book with you watching your video? So invest your time into smart marketing using a video podcast. There really is no better time than now. And if you don't have a viable business idea yet, remember to ask yourself our critical questions to vet your business idea, target audience, delivery model, pricing, etc. If you want to become a sustainable side business owner as a runway for your better future, you want to take our free quiz as linked in the show notes. By the way, I created my own e-courses on Thinkific using exactly this approach. I listened to my existing clients' pain points and then created my service. I sketch out my new e-course, promoting it to early birds for a reduced price, and then, if the demand is really on my bank account, I build out the full e-course, powered by the early birds, not by my own money. In the next launch, I sell the proven e-course for a higher ticket. So this is why I refinance that everything. So if you have a knowledge-based business idea, the learning management software Thinkific can be valuable for you. Maybe I got you intrigued now. So you want to do a video podcast, and now you're thinking, yeah, but what if no one listens? I want to assure you that starting small is key. You don't have to launch a full season of 10 or more episodes overnight. Start with 3 episodes to test the water. Only publish them one by one or at once if you like, if you have finished your 3 episodes ready to be published in the next week or month. Trust me, I've been there and done that. As a mom of small children, I'm very often sick. And in my 2nd episode of my Post-Doc Transformation show, I had to turn to my old YouTube video to edit and publish as my audio because I had not recorded my next episode due to my sore throat. So avoid sweating like me back then and prepare a buffer of ready to be published episodes before launching your video podcast or starting your next season. This is what I'm essentially doing now. I'm recording a couple of episodes that I have ready to edit next week or so. And if you are worried about not having a huge audience initially, remember that every great podcast started with just a few listeners. Like I already said, it can be a great opportunity for you to serve current and rekindle previous clients. For example, imagine if you are a holiday vacation resort or something like that. And then you can also create an episode that warms up your guests with your favorite music that they will immediately recognize when they are in your lobby or something like that. If you do what I teach you, you can leverage and reach new social media followers who you can win to become leads and eventually new clients. And due to the evergreen nature of your video podcast, you are playing a long-term game. So here's your prompt to reflect. What fears are holding you back from starting your video podcast? Is it the video component? Feeling unnatural looking into the camera? You can start with audio only. Talk into the microphone, don't look anywhere, and then cut out the video so that you have B-roll or something like that. And learn how to add video components to your social media assets. You don't like your voice? Well, you could use voice actors or an AI voice. To be honest, I would encourage you to embrace your voice as one key element of your personal brand, especially if you're going to be talking anyway in real life with your customer. You want your voice for them to remember. Is it content strategy? You can study my episode list as a blueprint for your own podcast episode list. In a later episode, I will propose episode lists for starting various business promotional podcasts, so subscribe to our Creating Reorganized show on your favorite podcast player, and then you won't miss that. Do you fear using AI technology? Well, you don't have to. You can use old school podcasting tools. You fear using tech in general? Well, you can also outsource the production after recording. There are companies that do that. There are freelancers that you can ask. I'm not doing that. If you want, I can ask around. What else do you fear? Write down your fears and consider how you can turn each fear into a plan of action so you can build and future-proof your business.
In my free email newsletter, I share actionable advice for your Creating Reorganized. As a subscriber, you can write me all your questions regarding your business promotional podcasting, which I will answer in the future episodes of the Creating Reorganized show. Please subscribe to my free email newsletter, Creating Reorganized, so you can learn even more from me. Before we continue, we want to appreciate those who finance this valuable episode for you. Are you wondering when and where you can get the attention of your audience? You always think you don't have the time for posting on multiple social media platforms. I totally get you. I have been enjoying weeks of social media breaks during the school breaks while I served my audience with prepared content to be scheduled out as needed. Ideally, you have just derived countless social media content from your one video podcast episode. Even without a podcast, with Metricool, the Swiss Army knife for your social media management, you can create and schedule your content in advance, according to the best posting times based on your followers. For campaigns across many days or weeks, I capitalize on their auto list and repeat features so I can focus on the important things according to my vision of life. If you want to schedule your content on social media, DM or email me, Metricool, so I can share my experience and consult you. Please check it out via my link in the show notes. Again, I only get a small financial reward if you become their customer using my Metricool link. Thanking our advertisers for their financial support, we are happy to return to our inspiring episode.
I want to share my real-life example. All right, so let's take a moment to reflect on my own journey. Since launching the Postdoc Transformation Show in January 23, I've produced 60 episodes and engaged with an incredible international audience of scientists transitioning into business. I've learned that by sharing my personal experiences, challenges, and victories, my audience feels more connected to me. They appreciate the authenticity and find value in the behind-the-scenes stories I share, whether it's about balancing my responsibilities as a part-time professor at an applied university or being a devoted mom. I used to have impact in my classroom with my bachelor and master students, or for my own business in career transition workshops at universities and graduate schools with their scientists. But in the era of COVID-19, my business model essentially died, and I had to reorganize my work. I discovered that I can inspire, motivate, and lead online via video conference too. And as a former IT strategy consultant, I'm all about scaling my business using technology and also recently AI. So I created my video podcast, Postdoc Transformation Show, and you can see my work on LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, etc. I really walk my talk. And I want you to benefit from what I have learned so far and what I will learn in the future. I really found a community online. Community is another important aspect. Podcasting can be daunting, and joining podcasting groups or forums can provide support and inspiration as you embark on this journey, because this is probably the first time that you do a podcast. Most probably you don't have time for that. So as you are listening to me, and maybe you like that, this can be a great start to feel encouraged. DM me so I can cheer you on with your video podcast, especially if I convince you to click and buy my affiliate software recommendations. Reach out to me so you can shadow me while I produce my real episodes for Creating Reorganized or Postdoc Transformation Show. I also offer podcasting business internships for anyone who wants to learn more from me. Later down the road, and really powerful, is to think from a supply chain perspective. Who can be a great interview guest or fellow business podcast or sponsor for your show because you both provide a natural product or service for your shared audience? Or maybe it's a value ladder, so to speak, so it's valuable for both of your audiences. So according to Lockett and Latham's goal-setting theory, goals need to be clear and concise to be motivating. So choose your primary key performance indicators to track your goal-directed progress. Checking in regularly with your stats from a podcasting host like Podbean or within Spotify, YouTube Studio, etc. is motivating, as you can see results and can counteract or double down as necessary. For example, I have to be honest, Spotify Wrap is a huge share-worthy celebration in the world of podcasting, and in their visualization of your podcast statistics for last year, they also reveal the episode and Spotify link that was shared most from one listener to others. How many local fans do you have, and what is your podcaster persona? These are all KPIs, and share-worthy visuals will help you to find a new ideal customer, as that person really usually discovers your podcast and then listens to many episodes beyond the one that was shared initially. And in our context, we can say that your goal as a new or aspiring founder is to build trust and brand awareness as a small business owner with existing products and services. You may want to boost initial sales from your ideal customer avatars, also called leads. Or if you are already longer in business and you think of, reaching a new target market, you may also want to sell across a value ladder to your existing customers. So here's my prompt for you. What is your specific, motivating, challenging, yet doable goal? Depending on your specific goal, you select your key performance indicator, and then you can hypothesize in the direction towards your goal. The more you do this, that is the independent variable, in a measurable way, within a set and comparable time frame, the better the key performance indicator, that's the dependent variable or result. Keep in mind that KPIs, as for brand awareness, may change directly, while KPIs like sales may take longer. So here's my prompt for you. What is your goal-directed hypothesis with your independent and dependent variables? And depending on where you are in your business life cycle, you should specify your goal to be just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. So you must stretch, but it's really doable for you. And this is why I shout out to the podcasting service providers I pay for myself, which is Podbean. And I could also keep my business secrets for myself, but instead, after using them for up to 2 years as a podcaster, I recommend their services openly. And of course, I earn a small commission if you become their customer. My goal is to really empower you to create a business promotion podcast, capitalizing on technology, and creating a video podcast has become a doable challenge with the rise of AI within the podcasting services. So here's my prompt for you. Provided that you want to reach your goal with video podcasting, do you want to make it easier for you using future-proof podcasting technology? All of the services I mentioned offer a free test period, so when you use my affiliate links, you can test them for free, and only if you become their customer, I earn a small commission. So with this podcast, Creating Reorganize, you get the strategic framework that I have developed as a psychologist, IT strategy consultant, and podcaster, founder, and also a mom for free. You get that all for free. And the podcasting service providers get the advertisement for free. And I only reap what I saw now with you if you become their customer. This tells you how much I believe in video podcasting for my own business. But now back to you. According to Locke and Latham, you should also commit yourself to working towards your goals. That commitment is easiest when you define them for your own business, right? So set yourself a limited, doable time frame, like a season of 10 or 12 weekly episodes. That equals roughly to 3 months of publishing episodes. So you can track your progress and get better in creating your scripts, recording, producing, and promoting your episodes. And after a season, you can have a season break to analyze your KPIs so that you can determine whether your hypotheses have been confirmed or not. And for your next season, you can double down on what has worked out and let go of what was unsuccessful. In the season breaks, you can rest by posting on social media only things that you have already derived from your past episodes. You don't have to do the hard work to create new episodes. You just have to derive and milk what you have already built before. So what I do in that time is to mainly focus on other areas of my business. And to be honest, I allow my podcasting season breaks with major school holiday seasons for my maximum rest and also joy with my family. You saw during the season and reap during the break. Remember that I suggested earlier to get your podcast listeners' feedback to understand their further pain points and ask them to subscribe and provide feedback for your episodes so you can answer in future episodes. This conscious reaping and feedback collection is important for your self-efficacy and your motivation to go on with continued or refined goals and hypotheses for the next season. So taken together, starting a video podcast can be a game changer for your small business, and it builds the know, like, and trust factor. It engages your audience with streamlined, sustainable content creation, and then that can drive sales while you are present with your loved ones and live according to your vision of life and focus on serving your existing and new clients. I encourage you to take that first step today. Remember, you don't have to do it all alone at once. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your video podcast transforms your business.
To celebrate this season of the Creating Reorganized show, I want to offer you a business podcasting internship for 4 weeks. You can apply or join the waitlist for the next season for this treat by sharing why you want to do a business promotional podcast, what your services or products are. And if you and your business are in line with my own values, I will strategize, conduct, and produce with you your first 3 episodes. For the first one, I take the lead and you shadow me. For the second one, you do the work and I help you out. For the third one, you are on your own with me, cheering for you on the sidelines. For more details, see our application form as linked in the show notes. Do you want to start your own side business as a runway for your better future? Then you will benefit from our free business readiness quiz as linked in the show notes. Are you a small business owner and want to create sustainable marketing and sales content? Try video podcasting about your service or product, like I do in my postdoc transformation show. I'm a mom of 2 kids in school and a professor, and I have no time to lose running my business. And if you also want to save time and energy, use our Dovetail Evergreen strategy. You can easily derive countless valuable social media content from just one video podcast episode. You can quickly attract a broad audience across many social media platforms and then nurture them into leads and clients in their ears and emails while you live according to your vision of life. Let me teach you Creating Reorganized. If you're ready to dive in and start your own podcasting journey, I highly recommend checking out the tools I mentioned earlier: Podbean, Descript, Typeform, ActiveCampaign, Thinkific, and Metricool. Each of these services has made my podcasting business experience smoother and more efficient, and I trust that they can help you too. Thank you for listening to our Creating Reorganized show. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your business friends, and leave a review on your favorite podcast player. Your feedback helps me as a small business owner to serve more small business owners for free, so thank you. I'm your host, Professor Dr. Anna Soei-Winkels, and now I wish you a happy Creating Reorganized according to your vision of life.